Hi guys. So today we're going to be coloring our Picasso. You should have drawn it last week. If you haven't had a chance to draw your Picasso, go back to the last folder from last week so you can get yours drawn. Now, a lot of people have been saying that their work has come out ugly, but I want you to avoid saying the word ugly because I wouldn't really say that any of these Picassos that you're looking right now on the screen, I wouldn't say any of these were really pretty. But they're definitely wild and crazy and chaotic. So that's what I want you to be focusing on. You're not supposed to be trying to make this beautiful or really pretty. You're supposed to be having fun making it kind of crazy and wild and definitely unique. I wouldn't say any of these were boring though either. So when you are coloring today, again, if you haven't finished your drawing yet, you need to go back and do that first. But when you have your drawing done, here's mine, and I've already started to color it, I want you to make sure that you are kind of coloring it in a Picasso way as well. So that is your goal, to make it look kind of crazy and definitely not boring. So I don't want to see anywhere you color the whole face, just one color. So if you look at these, he used so many different colors in the faces, especially on these two. Even these, he's using tons of different shapes, and those shapes are a lot of different colors. This one is using a lot of different patterns in there as well. So you could even think about using some patterns to color in big areas, like maybe on the neck, I could put a pattern in there. And lots of different things that you could kind of experiment with and try. You don't have to worry about making sure that the colors look good together, because I wouldn't say that these colors really look good together. So you just doing your best to get it filled in and colored in a Picasso style. So when I'm coloring this, you can use, I used crayons some already. You could use colored pencils. I've started to use them a little bit. What I want you to avoid is, let's see, what's a good color I can use? Maybe I'll use this pink color. So instead of trying to just fill in all of the shapes you have, you can either make shapes. So you could just, I could draw a circle in here and then fill that in. And that'll give you that kind of weird different coloring and weird different shapes in different colors like Picasso's work would have. Or you could think of it like a puzzle, which I think would probably come out even better. So if you're going to do it like a puzzle, you could just kind of make these weird shapes that go around stuff and just kind of fill in these areas. So I'm going to have this like weird puzzle piece kind of right here. And then I'll color in that whole weird shape that I just gave myself. And if you try doing it both ways, which is what I've been doing here, thinking about shapes and thinking about just like puzzle pieces being fit together, then I think it will come out really, really good. Of course, it's going to look weird. That is the point of this assignment. It is a Picasso style portrait that we are creating. And he definitely did some weird stuff. So he was pushing for that cubism style. And cubism is where it has cubes and shapes and tons of different things in it, instead of worrying about making it look realistic and like our old Renaissance masters. He started doing all of these weird things. So you could even, let's see if we could put a cube in here. Let me see if I have a dark blue. So with a cube, I would start with a square and then just come off the top here and over, just like that. And then you could fill it in. I'm going to fill it in with a lighter blue. So again, just drawing a lot of different shapes all over the place. Maybe we can use a dark green. I think this one will be better. Then you could come off of the side of that into a triangle. But I would be careful about letting your shapes get too small, because if you're drawing a lot of these teeny tiny shapes, you're going to take forever to finish this. So try to keep your shapes kind of big, like this big, giant puzzle weird shape that I made up here. These big ovals, big triangles, because if you do these teeny tiny, look, it's going to take me forever, because I'm going to have like, oh, I'll put another triangle here and color that in, and then it's going to turn into this teeny tiny pattern that we're making and take forever. So be careful about letting it go too small. You know my 2 rules in art: draw big, draw lightly. You don't have to worry about the drawing lightly so much today when you're coloring. You definitely don't want to be pressing super hard though while you're coloring, so keep that in mind too. I'm just going to do a curved line, and just going to curve back down to here, and I'll fill in this whole area. Coloring nicely, not scribble scrabble. Remember, we might not be trying to make a beautiful piece of art today, but you should still be trying to make it look good. So while it will look kind of crazy, it shouldn't look scribble scrabbly and messy. So that's the difference. That's what's separating this from being a mess and making it more art, because we're taking our time to put it together in a good way. Not rushing, not trying to scribble scrabble or anything like that. I think I'm going to do a zigzag line. And I'll just fill in this area with orange. So you could try using all the colors you have in this. You could just stick to a few different colors, but you'll definitely need a lot of different shapes that you're filling in with a lot of different colors. So you definitely are going to need more than, like, probably more than 4 different colors. But if you don't want to use a ton of different colors, make sure you have at least a few that you can kind of switch between while you're making these big shapes. I'm going to go back to my crown. I'm going to do this shape here. This is one of my favorite colors. This is called cerulean. It's just such a pretty blue. I love it. So this is kind of mixed media because we are using different things. We're using crowns, we're using colored pencils. If you have markers at home, you could even use marker in this. Let me see if maybe I can use some marker too. Maybe a green. Got my hands full of all kinds of different things. I'm going to put the green, I think, right here. So remember, when you're using a marker, you're wanting to kind of do lines as you fill areas in, and that'll make it look a lot better. Then I just touch up the little spots that I miss. I would not suggest that you use marker for this whole thing, because it will take a lot of marker and your markers might die. And it's just nice to have a couple of different things that you're trying to use. Different mediums, so all the markers, crayons, and color pencils, if you have them. I'm going to do this one. So you're just taking your time filling everything in. So here I'm just doing the shapes, filling in the shapes that I put in the background. But if you didn't put any shapes back here, you would probably still want to try to do this, where you are making little patterns for yourself and taking your time to make it kind of like a puzzle, like I was saying. So we could come like that. I like the way marker looks when it's not just all marker, because the marker is so bright, it really stands out next to colored pencils and crayons. So even though these shapes up here are big triangles, you could even separate or break them apart. You could even bring this big shape down like that. So don't let the shapes tell you what you have to color. I don't know if that makes sense. You wouldn't have to just fill in this triangle with one color. You are doing whatever you want, puzzling this together, making it as crazy and weird as you possibly can. So I'm going to keep going. How long has this been? I'm not sure. I'll color a few more things and then we'll go ahead and stop the video because I don't think you need to see me color a whole thing in. But just so you know how to do this, let me see if I can zoom in some. Here we go. So I have this big circle I put in the background, but I'm splitting it apart as well. I do orange. Oop, I went outside the line a little bit there. So I'm just going to cover up my mistake there by making this line a little thicker. And some yellow. I wouldn't suggest using a lot of yellow just because it can be kind of hard to see. So you can put it in some areas, but I wouldn't use a lot of it. I really like the way the green is looking. Let's see if I can use that. Get a zigzag there, and then just connect like a puzzle piece. So I'm using a lot of different types of line, but I'm using them and creating shapes because we can't really color in a line. You need to avoid just making lines. You need to make sure that whatever you're drawing in there is a shape that you can actually fill in. We already used blue. Maybe, it's a good color I could put next to there. Maybe red. I'll just put some red in this area. Sometimes it's good to put kind of an outline so it stands out a little bit better. Like that, and then color it in. A lot of times in the Picasso pieces, you will see this really dark outline. Let me see if I can move this. This black outline to all of these shapes that he's put into the face. Even down here, a lot of these have a very dark black outline. I'm not going to ask you to do that. You could if you wanted to. So you could do black outlines. Let's put one here around each of these shapes and then color them in, but that will take a lot longer. So you do not have to do this, but it will definitely look a little more Picasso-y, if that's even a word, if you do have this really dark black outline, and then you could fill that in. Let's use pink. But you don't have to have it. One thing that I was showing you was instead you could just press really hard on the outline instead of making it black. Press kind of harder with the colored pencil while you're coloring. And then you'll make this shape for yourself, really weird shape here, and then you can press a lot lighter when you color it in, and you can probably tell already, hopefully, that outline there is a lot darker and it's going to stand out a lot more. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop there because I don't think you need to watch me color forever, but I will put up a picture of this when it's finished. Again, you are not worrying about making it look pretty. I would not say that mine is pretty at all. I don't want to call it ugly because I don't want to be mean to myself because it is a Picasso. We aren't trying to make it pretty. So you're trying to make lots of crazy shapes and crazy colors all together in this kind of puzzle, basically, that we're putting together and hopefully having fun. So I think one of my favorite things that I've seen from people when they were submitting their pictures is that a lot of you guys got to do the drawing with your mom or your dad or your aunt or some family member, or brothers and sisters, and I was really happy to see that. I saw today a student sent me a picture that she had done of hers. It was a kindergarten student. She had done hers and then her mom's as well. And they sent me both of them, and they were so good. So I really do hope that you guys are having fun with this project. I can't wait to see how crazy these come out. Take your time, enjoy them, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye, guys.